Today we're starting our band of Goblin Raiders, and we're starting it with a build request. We love getting requests from viewers, and we try to get to them as soon as possible, but sometimes they take a little bit of time. Maybe they don't fit with the theme of what we're currently doing, or maybe it's just a difficult build, or in this case, both. Thiago Carvalho asked us for a War Magic Wizard, multiclass with a Path of the Beast Barbarian. And this is quite a puzzle. Mixing any caster with any Barbarian is difficult, both technically and from a roleplay standpoint. But a wizard more than most, and of all the subclasses of Barbarian to mix with it, Path of the Beast is probably the most challenging. But we think we've solved the puzzle, and we're presenting it for your consideration. Hi everyone, and welcome to an unusual episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Zapeel. Before we get started, remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our great D&D content. As Guy said, we are creating a build for Thiago Carvalho, and it is mixing the Pass of the Beast Barbarian with the War Magic Wizard. This has a few strengths. The War Magic's defensive reactions will go very well with the melee character, and the unarmored defense will go well with the wizard. Unfortunately, that's the end of the obvious synergies. The downsides are numerous. The ability scores are going to be spread pretty thin. Barbarians need strength, constitution, and dexterity to be high, and wizards need intelligence as well. And since we don't want to straight dump wisdom, that leaves just charisma to save points. Also, a character can't cast or concentrate on spells while raging, which limits it to either casting when out of rage, being a utility caster outside of combat, or buffing spells that don't require concentration. From a roleplay standpoint, it also requires a particular sort of backstory to explain how the character became to be. To that end, we are starting the build with the background. None of the published backgrounds give us what we need, so we are creating our own and calling it the Wise Woman background. In our hero's tribe of goblins, the Bugbear warriors revere their totem animal, the Ulmer cat, also called the Displacer Beast. While most become Path of the Totem warrior barbarians and use the tiger totem to represent the Ulmer cat, but a few are marked at birth with a colorization in their fur that indicate a special connection with their sacred beast. In battle, these warriors can manifest the teeth, claws, and even tentacles of the Displacer Beast to use to destroy their enemies. In the past, those born of such markings are always male, and are trained from birth to be warriors, but our hero is born a female, which caused such confusion among the elders. While bugbear females have been known to be warriors, none have ever embodied the spirit animal, so after consideration, the elders decided that the markings must be an omen of a different destiny and sent her to study with the wise woman of the tribe. The background gives the skills Religion and Arcana. It also gives proficiency with the Herbalist and Poisoner supplies. The feature is called Revered. A goblin wise woman and her companions can find welcome among any goblin clan, receiving food, shelter, and possibly other assistance. Even hostile clans will give them basic hospitality. As you have noticed, this character is going to be a bugbear. In our campaign, goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears are all variants of the same species and frequently live together in the same communities. So for our goblin party, we are going to use members from all three races. Bugbears from Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse have a number of abilities. Their size is medium and they have a move of 30 feet, but they are much taller and bulkier than humans, so they get powerful build, counting as one size larger to determine the carrying capacity and the weight they can push, drag, or lift, and they have long limbs. When they make a melee attack on their turn, their reach is 5 feet longer than normal. They have dark vision out to 60 feet, and despite their size, they are very cunning and skilled at stealth. They are sneaky, which gives them the proficiency with the stealth skill, and they can move through and stop in spaces that normally only accommodate a small creature. They also can make a surprise attack. If they hit a creature with an attack roll that hasn't taken a turn in combat yet, the attack deals an extra 2d6 damage. There are a few gray areas about this ability. It doesn't say how many times this can be used. If you have an extra attack, does it apply to every attack roll you make that hits or just on the first one? Of the way it is written, it should be all of them, but ask your DM. If it is not, it's still a great ability. Also, does it work with spell attacks? Again, as it is written, it should if the spell requires an attack roll, but again, ask your DM. Like all goblinoids, they have Fey ancestry, which gives them advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the charmed condition. Bugbear begin play speaking common and one other appropriate language, and we are choosing goblin. Bugbear get ability scores common in the Monsters of the Multiverse, which are 3+1 bonuses that can be put anywhere you want, but no more than 2 on the same ability. Using the point buy, we put a 14 on Strength, making it 16 with 2 from the bonus points. We put a 14 on Dexterity and a 13 on Constitution, using a bonus point to make it 14. We put a 13 on Intelligence, as that is the minimum for the multiclassing, and then we put a 10 on Wisdom and a 9 on Charisma.
Although she is sent to train with the wise women of the tribe, her training in battle isn't neglected. Bugbear are warriors by nature, and they train at both arms and ambush from childhood. She begins play as a first-level barbarian, getting 2 skills from their list, and she takes athletics and perception. She is proficient with light and medium armor, simple and martial weapons, and shields. She is also proficient with strength and constitution saves. She also has unarmored defense, making her armor class 10, plus her dexterity and constitution modifiers. For now, she would be better off using armor, and if playing this character, you should probably do that. But we're going to use unarmored defense just for the style of it. She's going to use a longsword and a shield. At later levels, she won't want the shield, but for now it will help a lot. She will also carry javelins for ranged attacks. As a barbarian, she also gets rage. On her turn, when not wearing heavy armor, she can use a bonus action to enter a rage. While raging, she has advantage on strength checks and saving throws, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, and her attacks using strength get a bonus to damage. This bonus is 2 points and increases as she gains barbarian levels. She can rage 2 times per long rest, and will gain more at higher levels. The rage lasts for 1 minute and ends early if she falls unconscious, spends a bonus action to end it, or goes a turn without attacking or taking damage. She had begun her training with the wise women when the humans came. They were a weak-looking bunch despite being armed and armored. They came speaking the goblin tongue and asking to meet with the chieftain. After meeting with the chieftain and gifting him with gold and jewels, they were given a place within the caves where the tribe made its home. They mostly kept themselves, buying food and supplies with gold, and seemed harmless enough, but the wise women considered them trouble. The chieftain told them that these humans were allies with the giants and were planning conquest among their own kind, and that the tribe would have an opportunity to plunder human cities and claim new lands. This seemed promising, but the wise women saw these humans as demon worshippers and untrustworthy. They cast divinations and sought omens and believed that no good would come from allying with these creatures. At second level, she becomes a first-level wizard. She gains spellcasting, gaining 3 cantrips known and 2 first-level spell slots. Wizards are prepared casters and can prepare any spells they have in their spellbook, and can prepare a number of spells equal to their wizard level plus their intelligence modifier, so 3 for now. They are also ritual casters, and can cast any spell in their spellbook that has the ritual tag without using a spell slot by extending the casting time to 10 minutes. They don't need to have the spell prepared as long as they have their spellbook in their possession. They can also use an arcane focus in place of any material components that lack a gold piece value. She fashions a wand made of cobalt bones that she carves with mystic runes. It is said that cobalt bones hold powerful magic. She knows the cantrips Booming Blade, Ray of Frost, and Shocking Grasp. She finds that these powers are useful in battle, but is frustrated that she can't cast them when her rage is upon her. She also creates a spellbook by scribing runes onto sheets of vellum made from the skin of fawns and mountain goat kids. The spellbook has 6 spells in it, and she scribes Detect Magic, Identify, and Find Familiar. These are all useful rituals, and she uses Find Familiar to conjure a trained raven that can carry messages for her, as it is capable of mimicking speech, and can scout for game or enemies. It is also very clever and likes to converse with her, and often brings her gifts of shiny objects it finds. She also has the spells Shield, Chromatic Orb, and Jump. Jump does not require concentration, and with her strength and athletics proficiency, it can give her excellent mobility, and can be used while she rages. The wise women were correct to fear trouble from the humans. A few months after they came, a group of their enemies came to the caves. At first there were only 2, and they battled the kobolds, stole some treasure, and departed. They were demon women, and from what she saw from the destruction they wreaked on the kobolds, they were very powerful. Not long after the demon women returned, bringing others with them, and they cut through the caves, slaughtering any who didn't flee. Many did flee. The wise women took the women and children of the tribe deep into the caverns. The warriors fought for a time, but when it became clear that the demon women were seeking the humans, the warriors fled as well. After the demon women had left, and the tribe returned to their homes, they found that the humans had been slaughtered and their gold taken. The chieftain consulted with the wise women and told them that the humans had brought an object of great power, and the demon women had taken it. He intended to send his son and a group of warriors to steal it back. He was going to send a raid on the nearby human village where the scouts trail the demon women to, and the chief's son and his band would use the distraction caused by the raid to sneak in and steal the object. They would then take it to the hill giant chief and use it to bargain with him or sell it to him. The wise women thought this plan was good enough, but felt it would be best just to leave it alone and not seek out any more trouble. But the chief was not swayed by their arguments, so they suggested that at least he allow one of them to accompany his son's warband. The chief agreed, and our hero, being young and strong, was chosen to join the raid.
At third level, she becomes a second level wizard and gains an arcane tradition. Knowing that the elders were mistaken about her destiny, the wise woman had been training her in magic useful in battle, and before she leaves, they complete her training in the art of war magic. As a war magic wizard, she learns to evaluate a battle and react quickly. She has tactical wit, allowing her to add her intelligence modifier to her initiative. She also learns to protect herself magically without casting spells. She has arcane deflection. When she is hit by an attack or fails a saving throw, she can use her reaction to add 2 to her armor class or +4 to her saving throw, possibly changing the result. Since this isn't a spell and doesn't require concentration, she can use it while raging. She can also add 2 more spells to her book, and she chooses Long Strider, which lasts for 1 hour without concentration and adds 10 feet to her movement, and she also takes Absorb Elements for another strong defensive reaction. The raid goes well. The warriors of the tribe enter the human keep. Bugbear climbers and goblin spider riders scale the walls and open the gates, after which the warriors make a lot of noise, breaking things and lighting fires, but retreating from any serious fighting. Meanwhile, the warband moves stealthily to where the demon women are. Finding them was not difficult. Her raven simply flew about the town, perching on roofs until she learned where they were sleeping. While waiting for them to emerge, she performs a ritual to allow her to detect magic. The chief's son and 2 of his warriors waited by the rear entrance, waiting for the residents of the inn to go out and join the defenders, while she and the final member of the warband, a clever young goblin spider rider, scaled the building to enter through the upstairs window. Upon entering, her magic-enhanced senses feel a powerful magic from a nearby room. After making a short work of the simple lock on the door, they quickly find the object and escape. The rest of the warband ransacked the rest of the inn, taking what treasures they could find quickly and enjoying the escape. They encounter little resistance. The chief's son saw one of the demon women fighting a group of Bugbear and wanted to engage, but they stayed true to the plan. Although they did fire off a volley of poison arrows to aid in the Bugbear in disengaging from the demon woman. At 4th level, she becomes a 2nd level barbarian. Taking part in the raid awakened in her the spirit of a warrior. Although she used her magic well, she longed to take her sword against the humans and crush them, avenging those that the demon women killed. She gains danger sense. Unless she is blinded or deafened, she gains advantage on dexterity saves against things that she can see. She also has the ability of reckless attack. When she makes her first attack on a turn, she can attack recklessly, gaining advantage on all of her attack rolls that uses strength. However, enemies gain advantage on all of their attacks against her until the start of her next turn. The warband immediately set out for the hill giant's steading, wanting to get as far from the demon women as possible. She sends her raven to notify the chief that the plan was a success. The journey to the steading was not without difficulty. The land between the human kingdom and the giant's realm was filled with ferocious beasts, as well as ogres and orcs who don't always consider goblinkind to be friends. She relishes the battle, using both her spells and her sword. In one fight, they were set upon by an ogre who was leading 7 orc warriors. The chieftain's son and his battle brothers engaged the ogre while the rest of the group fought the orcs. When her rage came upon her, she felt the power of the Ulmercat rise up within her, and she grew powerful claws, tossed aside her sword, and she tore the orcs apart with her clawed hands. Her companions had to shake her when the battle was over to stop her from feeding on the fallen orcs. At 5th level, she becomes a 3rd level barbarian, getting her primal path, and she gains Path of the Beast. When she rages, she assumes an attribute of the Ulmercat, which can be its claws, its fangs, or its tentacles. The claws deal a 1d6 slashing damage, and when she makes an attack with the claw, she can make another attack as part of the same action. The fangs give her a bite attack that deals 1d8 piercing damage, and once per turn, if she has less than half her hit point maximum, she gains hit points equal to her proficiency bonus when she hits with the bite. The tentacles, which are the tail option reflavored, has a 10-foot reach and deal 1d8 piercing damage, and when hit by an attack, she can use her reaction to roll 1d8 and add that to her armor class, potentially changing the result. She chooses which trait at the start of the rage. The claws are the best option, and extra attack is always great, but the tentacles will be an excellent defense, and since she is a bugbear, it will have an impressive 15-foot reach. The bite will be rarely worth it. The hit point gain is small, and the defense from the tail would possibly save her more hit points than the bite would gain. Her cantrips improve here, gaining an additional dice of damage, and Booming Blade now deals 1d8 thunder damage to the target and 2d8 to them if they move. At 6th level, she becomes a 4th level barbarian, gaining an ability score improvement or a feat. Although she very much needs to increase both her strength and intelligence, constitution is her most pressing need. It will improve her armor class, which is low, especially when not using shield, and it will help her hit points, which have suffered from her wizard levels, so she is increasing it to 16. Speaking of her armor class, when raging, she should use her shield. It doesn't impede any of her attacks, and she can't cast spells anyways, but when not raging, she needs a free hand to cast spells. Even if she isn't intending to use offensive spells, shield and absorb elements both require somatic components. We make a point of not building characters that need a particular magic item to function, and that is true of this character as well, but she would benefit greatly from a Ruby of the War Mage. It is a common item, so easily obtainable in many campaigns, and lets her use a simple or martial weapon as an arcane focus. And since you can perform somatic components with the same hand that holds the arcane focus, you can cast with the weapon and shield without difficulty.
When they arrive at the hill giant steading, they do not receive the welcome they were hoping for. The chief has no interest in the artifact and is angry. The cultist had promised him an army of goblins to aid his attack on the humans' lands, and instead he gets 5, and one of them is female. His wife tries to get him to see reason, but he is barely swayed. He does grudgingly allow them to stay in the steading, and doesn't make them servants as he threatened to do a few times, but his hospitality is poor. The chief's wife takes our hero aside and apologizes for her husband's rudeness, and encourages her to lead her companions north to the frost giant Jarl, who might be more interested in the artifact, and give them a better welcome. Our hero considers this a good plan and suggests it to the chief's son, but he is hesitant to head into the northern ice with winter coming. At 7th level, she becomes a 5th level barbarian, gaining extra attack, allowing her to make 2 attacks instead of 1 when taking the attack action. When raging, this would let her make 1 attack with her sword and 2 with claws, or multiple tentacle attacks, or even an attack with her sword and another with a bite. When not raging, this gives her a more effective option than Booming Blade. She also gets fast movement, increasing her move by 10 feet to 40 when not wearing heavy armor. Combined with Longstrider, this will make her incredibly fast. At 8th level, she becomes a 6th level barbarian, getting Bestial Soul. The spirit of the Ulmer cat grows within her. Now her natural attacks when raging count as magical for overcoming damage resistance and immunity. She also can adapt her form to suit her environment. After finishing a short or long rest, she gains an ability that lasts until she finishes her next rest. She can gain a climbing speed equal to her walking speed, and can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without making an ability check. This allows her to work well alongside her spider-riding companion. She can instead gain a swimming speed equal to her walking speed and can breathe underwater. Or, when she makes a jump, she can make an athletics check and add the result to her jump distance. Combined with a jump spell, this could be amazingly useful. It was the dead of night when her spider-riding friend alerted the warband that the demon women were in the steading. He was walking along the walls on his spider when he saw them below him, quickly dispatching a giant sentry and disappearing into the shadows. The companions take this as a sign that it's time to leave. Having been preparing to leave for some time, they had already stolen warm furs and a supply of preserved food and wine, so without bothering to warn their ungracious hosts, they slip out of the steading and head north to seek the frost giants. On the journey, she passes the evenings studying her notes and practicing her magic. At 9th level, she becomes a 3rd level wizard. She gets 2 2nd level spell slots and can now cast 2nd level spells, and can add 2 spells to her book. She chooses Mirror Image. It is a strong defense that doesn't require concentration, so she can use it while raging, and it emulates the displacement ability of her spirit beast. She also adds invisibility to make her even better at setting ambushes for her enemies. At 10th level, she becomes a 4th level wizard, getting an ability score improvement or a feat, and she takes the Fey Touch feat. This lets her increase her intelligence to 14, and she gains the Misty Step spell and a 1st level enchantment or divination spell, and she chooses Hex for a concentration spell that will increase her power when she isn't raging. At 11th level, she becomes a 7th level Barbarian, getting Feral Instinct, getting advantage on initiative checks, and if surprised in combat, she can act normally if the first thing she does is use her bonus action to enter a rage. At 12th level, she becomes an 8th level Barbarian, getting an ability score improvement on her feat, and she increases her strength to 18. At 13th level, she becomes a 9th level Barbarian, getting Brutal Critical. When she scores a critical hit, she can roll an additional dice of damage. And at 14th level, she becomes a 10th level Barbarian. From Primal Pass, she gets Infectious Fury. When she is raging and hits an opponent with a natural attack, the targets must make a Wisdom save or suffer your choice of the following effects. They must either use their reaction to make a melee attack against a creature of your choice, or take 2d12 psychic damage. She can use this feature a number of times per long rest equal to her proficiency modifier, and the DC for the save is 8 plus her proficiency bonus and constitution modifier. The trek to the glacial rift was fraught with peril, not the least of which was the cold, but they persevered and arrived at the home of the Jarl. The journey was not in vain. The frost giant Jarl gave them a warm welcome and paid them well for the artifact. They stayed in the home of the frost giants for several weeks and planned on returning home, but then the demon women attacked. This time they didn't use stealth. Instead they employed a series of hit-and-run raids, whittling down the Jarl's forces. Though she wanted to engage their enemy, the chieftain's son said it wasn't their fight and they should flee and return home with their wealth. She did convince him to at least do the honorable thing and let the Jarl know they were leaving. Unexpectedly, the Jarl was not angry or even surprised at their decision. He understood that they did not owe him their swords. But he offered them a proposition. He told them that he had arranged to take the artifact to his ally the Fire Giant King, but this attack has delayed him. He asked that they carry the item to the king for him, and they will be rewarded after he has slain these attackers. They agree to take on this task, and the Jarl uses a magical portal to send them to the volcanic mountain where the Fire Giant King kept his hall.
At 15th level, she becomes an 11th level Barbarian, gaining Relentless Rage. When reduced to 0 hit points while raging, she doesn't drop immediately and instead can make a DC 10 Constitution save to drop to 1 hit point. She can use this ability, but every time the DC increases by 5. The DC resets to 10 after she finishes a long rest. At 16th level, she becomes a 12th level Barbarian, gaining an ability score booster of feat, and she's going to increase her Constitution to 18. At 17th level, she becomes a 13th level Barbarian, and she gains a second Brutal Critical dice. So now, when she scores a critical hit, she rolls 2 additional weapon dice for the damage. The Fire Giant King was glad to receive the artifact, and also made them welcome. He even took our hero into his confidence, as he has great respect for the witches and wise women. He told her that he was in alliance with the Grand Matron of the Drow, who was going to bring an army of dark elves to assault the human kingdom and their elven allies. He said the artifact was the key to their plans and it needed to be kept safe. He tells them that there are a passage to the Underdark beneath his halls, and if they will travel to the Drow city and carry the artifact to the Drow Matron, he will give them magical weapons and a pass that will allow them to pass the Drow guard posts. She tells this to her companions, and they agree readily. Not only for the reward, but to get ahead of the demon women in case the Jarl failed to stop them. At 18th level, she becomes a 14th level Barbarian, gaining Call of the Hunt. When she is raging, she can choose a number of willing creatures equal to her Constitution modifier. She gains 5 temporary hit points for each creature that she chooses. These creatures can add a d6 to a damage roll once per turn. She can use this feature a number of times equal to her proficiency modifier each long rest. Their descent into the depths of the earth was not uneventful. They encountered many terrible creatures, the worst of which was a nest of illithids. They had taken the wrong turn on their path, and suddenly they were set upon by the aberrations. She flew into a rage, summoning her tentacles, and threw herself at one who appeared to be the leader. Her companions fought fiercely as well, and though they came near death, they prevailed. At 19th level, she becomes a 15th level Barbarian, gaining Persistent Rage. Her rage is so fierce that it will only end if she falls unconscious or chooses to end it.
The Drow Matron receives the artifact, but informs them that the Fire Giant King has been slain and their plans have fallen apart. She tells them that they will be rewarded for bringing the artifact and provides them with quarters. The Drow Matron is cold and formal with the men in her warband and treats them as inferiors, but she gives our hero honor and respect. They spend much time together talking of magic and other matters. Once, when she is in the matron's chamber, the matron was informed that she had visitors. The matron asked her to wait in the antechamber while she received them. Shortly after, our hero heard not the sound of guests, but the sound of battle. Looking into the chamber, she sees the matron locked in a losing battle with the demon women. Torn between fighting alongside her new friend or warning her companion, she hesitated for a moment, but then fled the antechamber, stopping only to retrieve the artifact. Finding her companions, they tried to think of a way to escape and could think of none until she remembered that the drow matron had told her that she has a portal in her personal shrine that led to the abode of the demoness Loth. Knowing that the demon queen wanted the artifact, she and her companions fled to the temple and opened the portal to the abyss. At 20th level, she becomes a 16th level barbarian, gaining a final ability score improvement on her feat, and she increases her constitution to 20, improving her armor class, hit points, and the save DC of her infectious fury. Now, I hope this character lives up to Iago Carvalho's expectations. She is powerful as a barbarian, and the war magic's tactical wit and arcane deflection give her some useful abilities in combat. She also has spells that give her some extra power when not raging, and if she has time to prepare before a battle, she has spells that will aid her even while raging. And this was a difficult multiclass, but I think the result was a strong character with a lot of flavor. We hope you enjoyed it, and will let us know in the comments along with any suggestions or build requests. And please join us next week when we continue our goblin party with our hero's spider riding companion. Until then, cheers!
Cheers!